Hey, Wichita, we are back with another wonderful episode of Coffee Break the Podcast. I am your host, Officer Chad Ditch, and I'm here with my co-host,
Officer Trevor Macy.
by far the best introduction I think I've ever done on this podcast.
Really?
Bro, I didn't stutter one time.
Do you normally stutter?
Right, or you cut me off.
I was trying to be respectful today
right?
And not make you laugh or try to cut you off or steal your thunder.
Well, I appreciate that, man.
So, yeah.
Speaking of thunder and loud noises in the sky, were you at the air show?
Thunder is. I was at the air show. Yeah, that's why I'm a little extra red today because
just a little.
Yeah, so it may be fall, Chad, but the sun is still just as bright and it causes just as much damage to your face if you don't wear sunscreen. So, yeah, I'm a little burnt today.
Was it pretty cool though?
It was cool in the sense that it was cool to watch. It was not cool.
Fair enough.
In the sense of the sunlight beaming on my face.
Yeah.
But it was really awesome. The Thunderbirds were great. They had an A-10 demonstration. They had the Tora people out there.
Yeah.
We had some folks out there recruiting for WPD.
Yes.
Saw Officer Lidl out there on Sunday.
Okay.
Went chatted with him. So it was a good turnout. A lot of people showed up. It was really busy.
That is really cool.
It was really cool.
That's the first air show McConnell's had since 2018?
Yeah, 2018 was the last one. And I heard, don't quote me on this,
I'm
but
quoting you.
Somebody told me, I don't remember who it was, but they said they're trying to make it more of like a every other year thing.
That's what they did in the past.
More often, yeah.
Yeah.
So trying to get back on that thing, and so that'll be cool because, I mean, I could not get enough of those Thunderbirds.
How'd your neck feel? Like, because you have to look up.
Oh, yeah, you're constantly
at
like this.
Yeah. I would want to be the guy that's like 100 yards away or miles away so I could just look straight ahead.
See, I've done that before.
Yeah.
Just like camped out way far away so I can just lay back in an easy chair and watch. But it's really cool being right there because they'll like buzz the crowd and it's super loud. And you get the full effect of it because you can hear the pump up music that they play. And then occasionally they'll go in the cockpit and they'll play like audio from the pilots talking to each other.
Oh, for real?
So you can hear the commander giving the command to like roll right before the squadron rolls together. So that's pretty cool.
I might have to go check out the next one. I worked so many of those, bro, when I was in the military. Yeah. Like I was kind of just burnt out.
I saw when we were walking into the gate, I saw one of the military police guys. Mm-hmm. He was standing there just kind of like checking everybody when they came in. I was like, that's Chad.
Yeah, bro, I'm telling you. Like,
and then somebody came by in a K9 in another car. I was like, no, that's Chad.
Yes, that is, yeah. When I got to that level, that was the best part about the air show because, like, our dogs, we would either, sweep stuff beforehand and stuff like that, or we were just nearby chilling out in one of the rooms playing PlayStation or Xbox or something like that, just hanging out in case something happened. But
that was a good turnout, though. They had a lot of cool exhibits for kids and a lot of planes to look at. Yeah. Helicopters. Some police cars.
It looked busy from the news and everything like that. It looked pretty busy.
Yeah. It was packed. So.
Do anything else this weekend?
Other than that, no. Did some home projects.
Oh, yeah?
Got some new tools.
Okay.
Bought a few saws, actually. And a new impact wrench.
There you go.
And I fixed a hole in my ceiling.
With all those tools?
I just used the saw for that.
Okay.
Some saw and some drywall.
Yeah.
That's all I needed.
That's it, man. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Sold some stuff on Facebook Marketplace.
How do you feel about doing stuff like that?
So it's kind of, I get a little nervous because I'm selling large items.
Yeah.
So I'm having to have people come.
When you say large, you mean like high value?
No, just like appliances.
Oh, okay.
Like I have an old washer and dryer I'm getting rid of.
Gotcha.
And so people are like, where do you live at? I'm like, I don't really want to tell you where I live unless you're like agreeing to come, buy this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not just going to tell you where I'm at.
Yeah, so you can break into my house and steal it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I sold an old toolbox. I just gave it away for free.
Yeah.
Somebody messaged me and they're like, hey, is this still available? I'm like, yeah. Like, okay, well, we're in the area of South Wichita, where I live. And they're like, okay, cool, come pick it up. So I texted them the address. They showed up in the driveway and handed it to them. And
do you help load it, or are you like, hey, if you want to get it?
This was just like a little handheld toolbox.
Oh, I gotcha.
It was really weird coincidence because like I was just taking it outside because it was free. I was just taking it outside to set it there so they could just like grab it.
Yeah.
And they're like pulling into the driveway as I'm walking out of the house.
It's like perfect.
Yeah. So I was like, are you here for this? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, good timing. And just handed it over.
There you go.
But I mean, it's weird, but also like if anything were to happen, I'm a cop. So like I know how to handle it.
Yeah.
If somebody tries to like break into my house, like
right.
strapped, dude. Like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah.
It's kind of a mistake on their part.
See, like when I would always just, and I still tell people this, like, hey, if you're going to do exchanges like that, go to a Quick Trip or somewhere, something well lit, cameras are around, things like that. But then, man, you get them big items, right?
Yeah,
like a couch or something like that. And you just got to play it by ear kind of thing. Like, pay attention to who you're selling to and everything. But
yeah, this is good advice for people too, because like I do the same thing. If I'm selling something small that I can just carry, the toolbox was an exception. But normally I'll meet at a Quick Trip or a police station. Yeah. Because you can always do exchanges there. And we encourage people, by the way, to 100%. Do online exchanges at our police stations. Even if you just, there's usually an officer in the front working the desk. You can say, hey, I'm going to do an exchange here. You mind just hanging out while I do that? And we can make sure everything goes smoothly. So that's a good idea. Probably best not to invite people to your house that you don't know.
Yeah, unless they're, like I said, big items and stuff. But obviously, you want to make sure if you got some people there, just security things. Yeah,
the other thing I'll do too is like if somebody's, especially on Facebook Marketplace, I'll click on their profile and see if we have any mutual friends. Yeah, because then I can be like, okay, well, I know that this is a real person. Yeah. First of all, I know what would make them fake?
Because I see this with people sometimes where they're like, oh, I didn't realize that this wasn't real, and I'm like, well, look at their profile. What would a fake profile look to you?
So I mean, I don't want to pretend I'm like an expert on this, but I've found a few fake profiles and stuff. One of the key things to look at is the date that they joined Facebook. If it's within like a day or two of them requesting this item, it's usually an indication that it's probably a fake profile. Yeah. If their pictures are like, their profile picture is like brand new, they don't have any like, if it seems like they really don't interact with anybody on Facebook, it may be fake. Also, the names can tell you a lot. Like, if it just seems like a weird name that like you've never heard of before.
Trevor Macy.
Yeah, that's a weird name. Like, who names their kid Trevor? Like, come on. Yeah. But yeah, like,
to me, like, you have some social media, like Facebook pages and stuff, that if you do not have a picture of yourself on there, you can't get accepted into the page. So that's another thing. Like, if you don't see any, and granted, some people have a private page, and you might be able to see it if you're their friend. But that's another cue for me.
And then, so we get messages on Facebook all the time from people, with these posters that go into like the classifieds pages. Yeah. And they post like, there's been one recently that they keep posting like these pictures of children, and they're like, oh, I found this child. Yeah. And we had that last week. Yeah. I was able to determine that was fake pretty quickly just by doing a Google image search for the image that they posted. So you can do that too. Like, right click an image, search this image using Google Lens. Yeah. And then you can see where that image has been used before. And you may be able to find that profile picture was stolen from another page or something. But
well, and that one ended up, I think, probably being more like a scam too, because of the location of where they said they were from. Different country, things of that sort.
I found the picture of the child that they posted was from a news article about a child that was found in an airport up in Minnesota. Yeah. Like a week before that.
So 2 + 2 is 4 in that situation. Yeah.
And 4 minus 2 is 2. Chad. That's 4 divided by 2.
Is it?
Is also 2.
What's 4 times 3 times 0?
0.
That's right. You the man.
You had to make me think there.
Speaking of the man, we have
the man.
Our first ever repeat guest is on the podcast today. We are having Interim Chief Moore. This is his last, I guess, official day. He's here throughout the week, but Chief Livingston will take over tomorrow. So we brought the man back. Said, hey, we want to bring you back. Why don't you be on the podcast again your last week?
Excited.
And he's here.
Well, let's get him on.
But he's looking sharp today.
Is he?
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah. So we'll get a refill, and we'll be right back with Chief Lim Moore. And we are back with Interim Chief Lim Moore. How you doing, sir?
Doing fantastic.
Man, so I was thinking all weekend long how we're going to start, because normally we say, hey, if you've seen the podcast, tell us who Lim is. But you've been here before. You've been on the podcast.
Yeah, one of the first ones, and gave a brief overview, of who I was and what my experiences entailed at the beginning, I could probably write a book now.
Right? Yeah.
Are you going to?
No.
Is that a hint for something to come?
Right. Someone's watching like he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it.
What would, if you did write a book? I'm curious what the title would be.
Oh, well, it just depends on what angle I decided to go with. My experiences as an interim chief, there are a lot of people that have been there, done that. And when I stepped into that spot, told me at the beginning, hey, the man on top, it's a lot easier and it's a lot better to be that second person in charge and not the person on top. Yeah. And they were right. Yeah. However, it's not a job that isn't doable. It's just that there are a lot of different variables, a lot of different things that go into it. And in my experience, going from a commander of a training center, and getting promoted to a deputy chief, I learned real quick, that there's a whole other level of outlook, as a chief, that you need to bring to the table, because you're not just dealing with your employees, you're not just dealing with the connection between the community and your direct employees, but you're dealing with the entire city of Wichita as a whole, and protecting and guiding and making sure that not only the Wichita Police Department is doing what they're supposed to do for the citizens, but at the same time that you're covering the city's interest in this entire process.
Absolutely. To kind of switch our normal question, what's next for Lynn Moore?
Well, I initially I wanted to take off the next 3 months to get some painting done around the house and to decompress and relax. Had a company that I worked for as a part-time for several years that are in need of some help. And so, instead of me taking off 3 months, a week after I retire, I'll jump right into that organization and start working in that area.
Awesome. Congrats.
Cool.
Thank you.
So at least you get to decompress for a week.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what that's going to look like.
Right.
But,
well, I remember you had said like you were going to binge watch some TV shows and stuff like that too. So kind of relax. But
is there a specific show that you're dying to catch up on that you've been missing out on?
And I'm a sci-fi person. I like to.
Oh, really?
I do. I like to watch futuristic. Like Star Trek. Discovery, things along those lines. I actually got into Orville and watched the whole season 5 of those, and I'm missing my futuristic, Star Trek sci-fi. Because there really isn't anything out there that is a series-wise that I haven't already binge-watched.
Are you more Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Yes.
Okay, but you've seen Star Wars?
Yeah, I've seen Star Wars. I remember going to the first Star Wars. I think I was like. I was a kid with my dad. He took me, and he was more excited than I was about it. But it was, really good because it had the different characters, Ewoks and things along those lines that weren't the norm. I was into the originals, and then as they started to grow, I didn't really attach to those as I did the original Star Wars. But the Captain Picard's and things along those lines, those interested me a whole lot more.
Star Trek has a lot of interesting social commentary throughout too. Like it's very insightful writing in the way that they do that show. Have you ever seen Star Trek, Chad?
I remember back in the day. I remember briefly.
Yeah,
I remember the guy. I don't remember who the guy was that had just the one glasses across his face.
That was Lamar Davis from Reading Rainbow. Yeah,
I remember that guy.
Yeah, he was one of my favorites. That's Data, they got Data.
Yeah. And
lots of cool Star Trek folks.
So 32 years now on the department. That's right?
Yeah, pretty close.
Okay.
Yes.
Any favorite times that stand out to you? Any times that are anything that just stands out to you? One of your favorite memories or anything like that?
No, not in particular. I mean, there are tons of memories that I have, within a 32-year span, working with different groups, different people. There are those, gotcha moments where, you're excited because you put a guy away that, has sexually abused a child, and then you know that you were able to get him convicted. So those are good moments, good feelings that I know that I can remember and go back on. Those days where it's just something as small as pulling over and having a motorist pulled to the side of the road that's super excited the fact that an officer stopped to help either push a car or to help take them to go fill up their gas cans so they can come back. So those are the moments that I've enjoyed. The more scary moments that were enjoyable, I lost one of my tooth chasing a guy, and we were running over and jumping over fences. This guy was 6'7", and I still ran into the back of his head. I don't know how that happened, being 5'5".
Right.
But it was pitch black out, about 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're in backyards. I'm chasing him down, and he was wanted in Miami as suspect in a homicide. I didn't know that at the time. All I knew was that this guy is running, and I was going to pull him over for his headlight being out, but I needed to figure out what was going on. This was back in the olden days where you didn't have computer systems. You could just run tags, things along those lines. You had to actually, take time. So the chase was on, and it was a good experience in my mind, even though it was painful, and I lost a tooth from it because I'm out. This guy's jumping over fences, and I remember chasing, and that was my claim to fame, being a track runner in high school. Is that I only lost one person out of like 3,000 people that I've chased in my career.
Oh wow!
Yeah, this guy, he was fast too. He was really skinny. If you were to envision what he looked like, he literally looked like Snoop Dogg.
Oh yeah,
that's what he looked like. Yeah, he's tall, slender, and he's hurdling fences. And I got to the point where I was super tired, so I put my head down and started running, and I dug in, and then I looked up. By the time I looked up, he was right there. And boom, I ran into the back of his head. My tooth popped out, and he started screaming, "Hey, don't hit me anymore! Don't hit me!" I never hit him. I just ran into the back of his head. And so I stopped, started looking for my tooth on the ground, trying to find it, and so that was one of those nights where it was a negative, but it was a positive. It's one of those things where it's like, what, I'm out there, I was doing my job, I was doing it effectively, and getting people in custody that needed to be in custody, and I got injured on the job, but it's what I enjoyed doing.
Did you ever find the tooth?
No, never found the tooth. Yeah.
Oh man,
it's probably still out there somewhere.
Out there, yeah.
It's down to some ant farm.
If anybody finds the tooth,
yeah. Well, I remember a couple weeks ago, after you announced your retirement and stuff, you had told some community members too that you want to make sure that you find your purpose and stuff, because you've been a law enforcement officer for 32 years. So I wanted you to know that one thing that I've really enjoyed about your leadership is that you're not afraid to tell people about your faith and everything. That means a lot to me, and I think a lot of other people out there. So I want you to know that that's something that I think you will always bring to the table. So always being able to encourage people. You always have the right words to say, man. So I really appreciate everything that you've done. Not only for me in my career, but just as a chief in general for this department. I think you knocked it out of the park, and it's been an awesome 6 months. So
yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. For me, it's just being positive, because here's the thing: is that there's tons of negative out in our world, and we all know that. And I've made that decision in my life at this point, and even if I were to have stayed as chief or interim, as a deputy chief, I decided that there are groups out there that are anti-police, and you could be anti-police and have your opinion. You can have 100%. Your thoughts towards police, but with that said, if you aren't doing something to fix the problem, if you're not bringing anything to the table to make for a better future, my ears are closed off to you. And so I'm going to embrace being positive. I'm going to embrace being constructive, because I understand that, and after dealing with these experiences, is that I can be at the table with the brightest and most intelligent people in our community, but if they want to stick and they want to focus on all the bad and not really focus on steps that we can take to change that, that there's no need to sit at the table with those people anymore. And so I know it sounds bad, but in my mind, I, as a leader, I'm about fixing things. I'm about taking steps, even if it's methodically time consuming, and it's going to take a year and a half to get there. As long as the effort's put towards and forward, and trying to accomplish that task, that's what matters. But just coming and talking and continually bringing up bad the past, to me, it doesn't solve anything. And you learn from your past, you learn from history, but you don't have to live in it.
I think one thing that this job tells us too, and I teach my kids this, is we always want to be a part of the solution, not a part of the problem. And I think that a lot of times when things go wrong in our lives or in situations that we have, we focus so much on what is wrong, and not trying to move past on how we could fix it or how we could make things better and stuff. So I agree. If we're not doing things to be a part of the solution, then we're part of the problem. So
yeah,
and we as a generation.
And it's funny that you said that, because I was literally contemplating that yesterday. I was at the Show and Shine car show and enjoying those wonderful cars out there. And then when you're at your most relaxed, and you're enjoying your day, that's when you're able to stop and think and process. And in my mind, while I was there and on my drive there were some people that we're running red lights. I'm in my personal car, so there's nothing I can really do. Right. But they're running red lights, or being careless, and they're not being cautious, and they're not being, caring of the people that are around them. Yeah. And so the thought in my mind was like, man, our society, it's great that we have freedom, but with those freedoms come responsibility. Yeah. And so, each and every one of us have the freedom, to say, I can do this because I have the constitutional right, the ability, to do it. But at the same time, we have to step back and say, now, even though I have that right, how does it affect my neighbor? How does it affect that person standing in front of me? And those are the things that I believe that some people don't take into consideration. And so we have to understand that at any time you go to another country, and it would be great to send some of our young people over to other countries to experience life without the freedoms that we have, without being able to just get up in the middle of the night, open up a refrigerator and grab milk to make cereal, or to grab a piece of fruit, be able to experience that from another country's perspective. It would be nice to be able to do that for our young people, but we don't have that. So as adults, we have to make that conscious effort to be a little bit more disciplined, and be that example, and be able to demonstrate that, hey, we have these freedoms, but I'm going to be reserved in those freedoms, and I'm going to turn the other cheek, so that I can set a good example for the young people coming up, because otherwise, that persistent, acknowledgement that some people have that, this is my right and no one can take that right from me. I'm going to stand up to this at all costs. And overstepping their bounds, and maybe using profanity, using violence, using things that aren't really condoned or appropriate or even legal, in some cases. It sends a message to young people that are going to be the ones that set the path for our future as a nation. Yeah,
most definitely.
So we had you on we had you on our first episode, and it was pretty soon after you took over the chief spot. And now it's been several months, and I'm wondering kind of what has any of your perspective changed after having this position for this length of time, and if so, like what opinions, I guess, or perspectives have you had that kind of changed as a result?
Yeah, and it depends on which area you're talking about, because if you're talking about internally wise, officer wise. My perspective has changed in the fact that, I already knew that we had a lot of great men and women working for our organization, but getting to know them on a personal level, I see how hard, our officers work. Yeah. And, even though I've been in the thick of it, just as they have been laying in the, behind a fence, waiting for a burglar to come out, sitting somewhere posted on a house with my weapon out, not knowing if I have to shoot someone or, take action or not. Yeah. Our officers do a great job, with the training that they have, with the support that they have, to be able to go out there and accomplish a task. So that my perspective has been enhanced in that area, and I do understand and appreciate each and every one of them. And I even though I would say 90% of the population here in the city of Wichita, love our emergency responders. Yeah. That the acknowledgement and the the outward support isn't where it should be. Yeah. Some of the things that I've learned and seen over the past 6 months is things that are reported about the police department. Some of it's accurate, some of it isn't accurate, and in many cases it's not accurate because the police department isn't able to give the total description, narrative of what's actually happening because of confidentiality. Yeah, you have families that are part of situations that are occurring that don't want their personal business out there. Yeah. And you have officers who are involved in situations that are civilians also and have those same rights and as an employee that they don't want their business out there. So it's one of those balancing act as a leader to where you try and give what you can, so you're not being secretive or hidden and cryptic in anything that you're doing, but at the same time you can't be as transparent as you would really like to be, because you have all those things to consider. And some of the reporting outlets, I think, take advantage of that and use it to their advantage to be able to get viewers or readers to partake in what they're producing. I think as a community, it's important for us to realize that if you have a media outlet that won't let a subject go, even after, let's say, for instance, the stuff that the police department's been through, we can apologize 100 million times, but if you're not going to let it go, it's like in a relationship, it's just going to continue to deteriorate that relationship that you have. And in the case of the police department, the relationship is with the community. And so when you have negative things that are identified, and the police department's working towards fixing, and the community is working towards fixing with the police department, then at that point, you move on and you progress. But if you don't allow that progression to happen, then there's still going to be that divide. There's still going to be that distrust. And ultimately, to help each and every one of us, we have to be able to build that relationship, in order for things to be successful.
100%. And I was just thinking that this weekend, it's just like a relationship. If you and your spouse, if there's kind of, let's just say, like an infidelity or something like that, you continue to bring that up 3-4 months down the road, it's not helping build that, bridge, or build that, you shorten that gap. You know what I mean? You just can, it's something that you're always going to fight.
Right.
But if you work together and have events or counseling or whatever, it is, town hall, for instance, where we could talk about stuff. I think that's how we move forward, but we can't keep living in the past. We got to continue moving forward. And I think you've done a great job with that. I mean, we've done a lot more town halls just in the 6 months that you've been up here. So, and I think we've got more to come too. So I'm looking forward. I'm really sad to see you go. I mean, I started my career with you as my lieutenant, and I'm up here in the PIO office, and you're the chief. So I've been super excited to come up here and be a part of your last 6 months here. So,
all right, I appreciate that. I pray everything works well for our city, for our community, because as a police department, I know we have Sedgwick County Sheriff Office that protects the the county, and they come in the city, but the city itself, that 6-minute, 7-minute response time, that's what the Wichita Police Department is good for, and that's what we're here for, and to provide the best public safety services for the city of Wichita. So we want to be able to continue those efforts and to grow. I believe that you invest in your future, into your community, into your infrastructure, and you're going to get out of what you make that put into that investment. So as a leader of the Wichita Police Department, I found over the last 7 months that I've been working as interim, there are things that are sort of archaic that need to be fixed and updated, and we're working on those things. We're working on the work environment for officers. We're working on the different softwares and different areas that we've identified concerns on, but it's a long process. It's not something that can be done and taken care of within a 7-month period. So the new chief coming in has a pretty tough mountain to climb, but I think it's accomplishable.
100%. So what's your message to the young officers that are coming in? We got some in the academy now, the ones that are here, less than 2 years on, and they have goals to be a chief or higher up in this department. What's a message, your going away message to them, to inspire them to shoot for the stars?
Well, one thing that I've really been focusing in, making sure that when I talked to the recruit class, was to, when the times get dark, when times get hard, remember why you chose to be a police officer. Remember why you chose to go through the academy and go through the intense training process. Remember why you set out on the traffic accident when it's 7 degrees outside. Remember why you started, to begin with. And a lot of times, those whys can mean different things for different people, but ultimately, if you were to put it all in a nutshell, the reason why they've done it, whether it's because of financial, to take care of their family, to take care of themselves, whether it's because of benefits, whether, it's because they, truly, have that service, character within themselves, ultimately, we all join the police department because we want to be a part of something bigger that focuses on helping others. We want to have that internal feeling, that internal gratification of knowing that, you know, even the little thing like walking a lady across the street, you know, you did when you were a Boy Scout, or when you just did it as a human in our society, that makes you feel good, you know. So the bare basics of why we're doing this isn't really truly because of the money, isn't really truly because of, you know, you want to go take bad guys off the streets. Ultimately, the bare basics of it, the bare foundation of it is that you're helping people. You're 100%. Helping people in any way, shape, or form. I remember a young man getting shot in the chest, and my partner and I, 2 minutes out, and he's shot, and we already know that he's shot in the heart, and that the chances of him surviving are going to be, were pretty nil. Weren't there, and. But you don't say that to that person as you're holding them in your arms. You don't say that as you're looking them in the eye. What you're saying is, you know, you're going to be all right. You know, take a deep breath, calm down. You know, your mama's going to be with you soon. You know, she's going to be here. You know, so you know, we'll get you to the hospital. You know, when it's all said and done, you know, everything's going to be okay. You know, and so you try and be positive. You try and, you know, and that person that you're dealing with may be of someone that has cussed you out the week before, you know, or that you had to arrest, you know, a couple of weeks before, but you know that person's probably going to pass. And if they're going to pass, the last thing that they need to hear isn't anything negative, isn't anything bad. They need to hear positive. They need to hear someone that, you know, maybe they don't look, you know, highly upon, but they need to hear that person being supportive. And, you know, I remember going through that experience with an individual, and you know, him smiling right before he passed, and it was emotional, but it was good.
He got you got a little bit of closure and everything. That's an amazing story. You got the one has to go. This week?
So you know, we play a game on the podcast, and we gotta play another game here.
Hope it's not an Usher game.
It's not an Usher game.
You got a new suit because of it, though.
No, not an Usher game. This one's a little bit easier. One has to go. Today is National Pancake Day. So it's pancake themed. One has to go. We'll put it up on the video screen. We got 4 different flavors: strawberry, banana, blueberry, chocolate chip, and the classic OG buttermilk pancakes. One has to go forever from existence. Which one are you getting rid of?
Oh, people are going to hate me, but that chocolate chip one's gone.
What?
Yeah, that is gone.
Why? That was a shocker.
That was. I was not.
Yeah, no, I can handle the fruit and the plain pancakes. I haven't eaten yet today. Those look fantastic.
Man, that looks like you got it from IHOP.
It's from IHOP. Shout out IHOP. These are all IHOP pancakes. So
yeah, but no, I'm not a chocolate on my pancakes. You know, if you put peanut butter on there, I'll eat peanut butter.
See, we were just talking about that too. Yeah.
Peanut butter and bacon. You put that stuff on anything, and I'm about it all day long.
My grandma puts a fried egg on top of her pancakes and eats that. I've never had it. It seems weird to me. But
go to breakfast with me, and you go to IHOP. They usually give you the 2x2. You know, and you shout out for IHOP. You know, But I'll take my pancake. I'll put the 2 eggs in the middle of it, and put the pancake on top. I do it at Village Inn. No matter where I go, and sprinkle the syrup on top. That's how I eat it.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I've never tried.
I'll try it. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't
going to the same
bad.
place. Anyway.
Right. Yeah. I'm getting rid of strawberries.
Strawberries and banana.
I don't like bananas. I like bananas by themselves, but not like on anything. Like
honestly, I think I'm getting rid of blueberry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't like blueberry muffins?
I like blueberry muffins. Pancakes though, I don't know. I don't really like the blueberry syrup on the pancakes. Like I'm more of just a traditional syrup guy. So.
Okay, so you just said syrup twice and totally different. You said syrup and syrup.
Syrup?
Like I was going to ask you.
Syrup.
Yeah.
I think syrup is how I want to say it, but sometimes my Kansas roots take over and I say syrup because that's how I grew up talking like this, Chad, and I had to work hard to change it.
Well, Chief, we know you are super busy. I'm happy that you're going to be able to take a step back a little bit and relax before you step into the next career. But it's truly been a blessing and honor to be able to work underneath you for all these years and stuff. But I'm super excited for your future and then the best of luck to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you all for all you do. And I thank the community for, everything that they've done as far as being supportive of the Wichita Police Department. Keep the faith, keep support, because the Wichita Police Department, is going to continue to, work hard and provide the best safety services that, we can provide, here in the state of Kansas. Hands down, we have organizations outside of our state that are reaching out, asking, how we do business, especially in the area of community policing and child advocacy. We have, we are, some of the leaders in how we conduct business. And so we have to pat ourselves on the back a little bit more, despite, some of the negative things that, we may hear in the media that, are fixable.
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm going to get a refill and we'll be right back. And that was, for the final time, Chief Limore.
He outdressed us today.
Bro, he showed up and showed out.
Showed out the full dress uniform.
Yeah, and he had his vest on that thing, man. Like, you know how hot you gotta be? It looked like he had his vest on.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, that's still hot for that.
Yeah, man.
It's still. Oh, it's 73 out. It's going to be in the 80s, too.
Yeah. I'm sure he's got that thing off already by now. But probably. I think he was taking some pictures and stuff. But, man, great interview. Great interview.
He's a good guy. I'm privileged to have gotten to work with him. Sad to see him go.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for him, too, because I know he's gonna breathe a little easier now with all the responsibilities that he does here.
Yeah.
Be curious to know what he ends up doing after this.
Right? I don't know.
Have to let us know.
Yeah.
I guess we got his number, so we can just
just text him and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, man, 32 years on the department. Everything that he's been through. I mean, he's an emotional dude. He wears his heart on his sleeve. You could tell just talking to him, he was getting a little emotional on some of the questions that we were asking and stuff. So, yeah, man, it's crazy some of the calls that he was talking about.
Chocolate chip pancakes,
bro. I don't. No, we're gonna have to write a letter about that one. That was. How do you not like chocolate chip pancakes?
I don't know. They're delicious. Delicious. Anything chocolate chip is delicious.
Hands down.
Do you like, this is way off topic, but do you like the Pazookies they have at
say that again?
BJ's Pazookie?
What is that?
It's like a pizza cookie. It's like a cookie that they cook in like a pizza, like skillet dish.
Okay.
And then they put a glob of ice cream on top. You've never had a Pazookie?
I've had it. Why don't you just say big cookie?
Well, it's called a Pazookie.
Oh, okay.
Well, depending on where you go.
Gotcha. I've had
Old
those.
Chicago, it's like the 9-inch.
Didn't they used to have a little cookie store at the mall like that?
Great American Cookies?
Sure.
They don't do it in a skillet.
What do they do it in?
They just give you a cookie. It's just in a bag.
Anyway, what's your question?
I was just asking if you ever had one.
Yes, I've had one.
And if you like them.
Yeah.
So it's one of my favorite desserts. I used to go to Old Chicago, and I would eat my dinner, and then I would get one of the Pazookies.
Yeah.
Just eat the whole thing.
No joke.
Yeah.
Speaking of desserts, man, I'm looking forward because we have holidays coming up. I mean, we're in the last quarter of the year, about to start, bro. And we're talking cherry pie, apple pie.
A lot of pies this time of year.
Bro, you know how long it's been since we've talked about food on the podcast? Like, I feel like it's been a hot minute since we've talked about food.
We usually talk about it extensively.
Yeah. Well, minus one has to go.
Right.
But I think it's been a hot minute since now because we're getting IHOP after this for sure.
Yeah.
Or Jimmy's Eggs or
pancakes.
something.
I'm craving pancakes now.
Something.
I'm starving.
Yeah. But yeah, man, Chief, it was nice coming up here knowing that he was going to be up here. I think that was one decision that helped me. That was one reason that helped made my decision easier to want to be part of the public information, knowing he'd be here too. So I'm excited for Chief Livingston to come in, see everything he's gonna do and help with the department and stuff. And DC here for a long time, so
a lot of stuff. Coming up.
Yep. What else? We got some big things coming up. No, we can't talk about it yet. We're working on them. So
yeah,
but it's busy, man. It's busy. Had a busy weekend, man.
Always busy. Yeah,
so,
you had a very busy weekend,
brother. Like,
did you get any like relaxing time?
No. Saturday is usually my only day off and stuff. And then this weekend, it was just there was a whole bunch of stuff that happened in the city and stuff with the department. I did go work my part time, at West Kellogg. And I'll share a story about sometimes I think with Chief brought it up, right? Sometimes people just do stuff and they don't even care about anything else is going on. So, I'm working at Walmart, and just we're there as a deterrent and everything like that. And a gentleman walks in. We see him on the cameras, and he selects an item, right? Rips the tag off, puts the shirt on, and out the door he goes. So
stole a shirt?
Yeah, stole a little zip-up hoodie, right?
Yeah.
So I go to stop him, and I'm like, "Hey man, I'm Officer Chad Dish, just here talking about some stuff that happened in the store." And he immediately is like, "What stuff?" I'm like, "The hoodie, brother. You clearly took the hoodie. Yeah. We're gonna talk about that." And my man looks me in my face and he said, "Oh yeah, I straight took that. I needed it." I was like, "Okay, we can't do that."
Right.
And he just went on to tell. I mean, he ended up being really really cool, real laid back, and stuff like that. But he was straight up and honest. He's like, "Hey man, like struggling a little bit with some funds, and I just needed to get this right now, so I took it. You got me." So, but yeah, I just thought that was crazy how that was the interaction. Yeah. You know what I mean? That was just the thought process with that person. But
wow.
Yeah, it kind of threw me for a curve there.
A lot of interesting encounters in the loss prevention world.
Right, you worked there before, not maybe Walmart, but you worked.
I worked at Target.
Yeah,
for 3 years in college doing loss prevention. And so there was a guy that we had, and it was you always knew it was going to happen before any major barbecue holiday, 4th of July, Labor Day, Memorial Day. This guy would come in the Friday before and steal tons of meat.
Yeah.
Just like ribs and steaks and stuff. So it was odd to me because I never thought, prior to working in that role, I never thought meat theft was like a huge thing.
Oh yeah.
But like, yeah, I guess.
Well, especially if they're doing it, like most people don't do it because they're hungry.
No,
right?
Most people do it because they're gonna sell it.
Yeah.
Because he's not stealing one or two things that he's gonna eat. He's stealing like thousands of dollars worth of stuff that he's gonna resell.
Right.
And that's the thing a lot of people don't realize is like retail theft is like an organized crime element. Like there are people who pay other people to go steal things from stores so that they can resell it in their little shops.
Like drug dealers will accept stolen property too, as a form of payment and everything as well. But that's also, I don't know about any other state, no Kansas, but if you get caught shoplifting in Kansas for like 3 consecutive times, right, in a 72-hour period, even though it is a minor amount or just not an outrageous amount, you can be charged with a felony for that, So I don't know, man. Like I understand. I am not naive to know that some people are struggling out there, and some people do have to steal because they need food or something like that. But there's so many resources in the city that provide a free meal. Right. I mean, the Lord's Diner does that every single day, and we have multiple different locations for that, or 2 different locations for that. So, but yeah, I thought that was interesting. Chief had shared that his story, which is obviously way more tragic than my story. But
I didn't realize he lost a tooth.
Right? And when people say that, you have to always just straight look at their mouth after that.
I'm like, which tooth is it?
Yeah. And then he never found it, and I'm like, what happened?
What happened to that tooth? There's a tooth out there. Yeah. If anybody has information on Chief Moore's tooth, call Crime Stoppers. 316-267-2111. That's my Crime Stoppers plug. I don't know that you're gonna get a reward for that. But if you have information about a felony crime that occurred in Wichita or Sedgwick County, you are eligible for a cash reward for your anonymous tip.
Crime Stoppers just had a really good month too, right?
Yeah, one of our best months. Thank you for bringing that up.
You're welcome.
In the history of the program. So since 1980, Crime Stoppers has been active in Sedgwick County. Last month, I don't remember the exact amount. I sent a news release out, but we approved over $4,000 in rewards. One of those was a $2,500 reward for a tip that led to a fentanyl bust where the person had over 1,000 pills.
That's crazy, man.
Which is what we are considering a wholesaler fentanyl dealer. So Crime Stoppers is really wanting to help with the fentanyl crisis, so they're offering $2,500 rewards.
That's amazing.
For information that leads to wholesale fentanyl dealing arrests.
We just sorry to cut you off.
That's okay.
We just did it. I know. We just did a joint campaign, or we're doing a joint campaign with the county reference and some other nonprofit organizations in the city. reference fentanyl.
Yeah.
And a mom and dad shared their story of losing their 19-year-old son. And they said he had just had one pill, and he had taken half of it earlier or the day before, and he had no reaction. And he then took the other half later that night or early in the morning, and that was the pill, half the pill that killed him. So imagine that, man. 1,000 pills, right, could have potentially affect 2,000 people.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's the thing. Like I think that's great work. You know, they can't. Crime Stoppers, you know, provides the tips, but it's really the follow-up that leads to this. So I cannot commend enough the Special Investigations Bureau officers. They work up on the 5th floor with us, and tremendous guys. They are so busy working drug complaints, and they stay on top of it. They're really prioritizing the fentanyl right now and hitting those guys hard, and that's what we got to see to help decrease the demand for this.
One thing, when I came on as a young officer, I always wanted to follow those officers that are really good at speaking to people, right? And that's everyone in that unit. Like you just chopping it up with them for a couple minutes. Like they're real mellow. They can have a great conversation with you. And you got to think, man, like dealing with this stuff is dangerous. Yeah. Right. And the stress level has got to be through the roof. And these guys still can hold down a conversation and talk to people really well. And that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you hit on the dangerous thing, too, because it's not just drugs that these guys have. Like the bust that we gave that award on, they found 8 firearms. Right. 3 of them were stolen from another state. Like these guys are into more than just drugs most of the time. So there's some dangerous people out there that are pushing this stuff, and we want to get those people off the streets.
Well, that's good, man. That's really good. So if you know anybody out there that is a wholesale fentanyl dealer, and you would just know Crime Stoppers has got something out there for you. So
anonymous. Crime Stoppers is anonymous. Nobody will ever ask your name. You have to remain anonymous to receive a reward through Crime Stoppers. So if you contact the police and you identify yourself as a Crime Stoppers tipster,
you're out.
Sorry, we can't jeopardize the anonymity of the program. So
that's good though. Like that's how important it is for Crime Stoppers to stay anonymous.
Yeah, nobody has ever been identified by Crime Stoppers in 40 years that it's been operating.
Yeah, 40 years, but that's a long time.
Exactly. The only time I've ever
it's not old, but for 40, it's not old. Yeah.
No, it's not old. It's 40 years young.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have people sometimes they'll call police and say, you know, I already called Crime Stoppers about this. Well, you're no longer eligible to use this program because you've identified yourself. Yeah. So just be aware of that. The guidelines are on the website, www.stopcrime316.com. I came up with that.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. I like that. And you guys are in all the schools, Crime Stoppers in almost all the schools, right? In
Sedgwick County? So Sedgwick County, we have Speak Up, USD 259. We're in Hayesville, Mulvane, Clearwater, Derby, Mays, Renwick school districts now, Valley Center, Catholic Diocese. So goal is to have every Hayesville as well. Goal is to have every school district in Sedgwick County as part of that program, so students can report not just crime stuff, but bullying. Different concerns with school. We get a lot of bullying tips through the program. Yeah. Kids just need to find a place that they can
need an outlet.
Yeah, and it's anonymous, so nobody knows who you are. So
that's dope, man.
Takes the fear out of reporting things, because a lot of people feel like they're gonna get targeted if they report somebody else.
Right.
But that's not the case with Crime Stoppers.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to next week. Maybe we'll have to reach out to the new interim chief, Livingston.
We'll see if he can come on the podcast.
Yeah.
I hope he says yes.
Yeah, me too.
I know he's gonna be super busy. So.
I know. Yeah, he's gonna be jumping right into it. And but yeah, we'll have to see, man.
Yeah.
But until next time, we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Bye.